did a video on the 18 Echo MOS, Special Forces Communication Sergeant, which I was. I also thought it'd probably be a cool thing to do a video on the other three of the main Special Forces MOSs, which are your 18 Bravo, Weapons Sergeant, 18 Charlie, Engineering Sergeant, and 18 Delta, Medical Sergeant. Okay, so today we're just going to go in line of alphabetical order and start with the 18 Bravo, Special Forces Weapons Sergeant, right? Sort of the coolest MOS, usually everybody thinks. Most people, it's what they want to be, right? Because you get to be the expert in everything firearms, right? Plus a whole lot more. But in generalities, right? A lot cooler than the 18 Echo, the radio guy, right? So just a quick rundown on what an 18 Bravo is. So again, Special Forces Weapons Sergeant. Their whole focus is everything weapons related. These guys are able to basically pick up any weapon they could find anywhere in the world, from Russian made, American made, whatever, and be able to, take it apart, put it together, put it into use, all those sorts of different things. Okay, so also there's a whole lot more the 18 Bravos are responsible for, which we'll get into, but that's sort of your generic understanding of what the 18 Bravo is. So, we'll start with the Special Forces Qualification Course, like I did with the 18 Echo. What does it entail? What's the Special Forces Weapons Sergeant course entail in the Q course? So again, I was an 18 Echo, right? So from this, it's more hearsay, but again, I was in SF a long time. A lot of time on the teams, so I've heard all the stories. I know what everything goes on in the course for each of the MOSs and whatnot, right? So, in generalities, right, not going to get too deep into it, but the weapons course is essentially that, right? The guys do a ton of firearms-related things, from being able to take weapons apart, put them back together, functionality checks, all that different things for all sorts of different weapon systems, right? From American-made M4s to Russian-made PKMs, and the list goes on, okay? They also do some mortar stuff as well, and some extra tactical things, okay? So the idea usually on most ODAs is typically the 18 Bravos are sort of the tactical trainers and instructors of the team. They're expected to have the highest level of tactical knowledge and experience most of the time, right? Okay? So what are the responsibilities on an ODA if you're going to be an 18 Bravo? Okay, of course, weapons related, right? The upkeep and maintenance of all the team's weapons is going to fall on the 18 Bravo, right? He's the one responsible for getting new barrels put on or new optics or whatever needs to be done with the weapons. That's going to be their job, right? They also are in charge of doing ammo requests, equipment supplies, for everything training and firearms related as well. And like I mentioned again, they're typically your lead trainer, lead tactical trainer, or range master, whatever you want to call it. So when we go out to the range, it's typically one of the 18 Bravos that's going to lead the training for the day. Not always, right? But that's typically one of their main roles and responsibilities. Okay, so of course, being a Green Beret, every MOS has their administrative tasks, right? So, like we mentioned with the 18 Echo, it's, doing in, commo requests and getting batteries and all that sorts of different stuff. For the Weapons Sergeant, the biggest ones are risk assessments. So, if you don't know what a risk assessment is, it's basically a giant packet of whenever we're going to do training of basically filling out anything in the world that could go wrong, how you're going to prevent that, mitigate that, and yeah, we have to turn those in for everything we do usually, right? Your 18 Bravo usually is the one that's taking care of those risk assessments, which is sort of an annoying thing. But next one again, equipment upkeep, weapons maintenance, things like that. It's going to be one of the main administrative tasks for 18 Bravos as well. And then from the mission sort of side of things, right, 18 Bravo is usually in charge of the tactical side of mission planning, right? So very often they will be the ones, briefing the actions on portions of missions, which is what we're actually doing tactically on the ground during a mission. and things of that nature, right? So you can, again, think of them as the lead tactical advisor and everything combat related in that regard, okay? So this is one we didn't do in the 18 Echo video, which I should have, but we'll talk about the most common schools that 18 Bravos go to, okay? So one of the biggest ones is a school called MLOC, which is basically a mortar school, right? On an ODA, we typically have to be self-sufficient, which means we very often bring our own mortar systems with us, whether that be 60 or 80 millimeter portable mortar systems. You know, the 18 Bravos need to be able to do 120s and things like that. But for the most part, the 18 Bravo is going to be the SME on everything mortar related, okay? So he's going to cross-train the team on how to use the mortars and do all that stuff, okay? So, but that's going to be a typical school that most of the 18 Bravos hopefully will get to go to. Next one, sniper school. So, of course, a lot of different MOSs get to go to sniper school if they want, but usually 18 Bravos have the first choice at going to sniper school when they're on the teams. So that's another one that they're responsible for cross-training guys on the team and expanding that knowledge to everybody on the ODA. But it's typically your 18 Bravos that are going to go to those schools. And then the one, you hate it or love it, that most 18 Bravos get sent to, especially young 18 Bravos, if you just got out of the course, you're almost guaranteed, and that is Ranger School. For whatever reason, you know, 18 Echoes and 18 Deltas a lot of times sort of get off the hook for having to go to Ranger schools, but 18 Bravos are typically going to find themselves in Ranger School, which is a great school, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's also one of the most brutal schools to go to. So, yeah, so that's going to shore up the video on 18 Bravo, you know, quick rundown, and if you have any other questions about 18 Bravo, then go ahead and put them in the comment section. All right, guys.